Welcome to Shepton, Mallet, Flea. It is a flea market situated in Shepton, Mallet, Somerset. They say it's the biggest in the UK, but I know there's a big one in Malvern.
Malvern?
So yes, that's a big one. That's also. So we'll see. Anyway, in the summer, this does.
It's advertised as the biggest flea in the UK.
Yeah.
So, like, even if they're lying, like we said in the stories on Instagram, I apologise
in the
if
summer,
factually I'm wrong.
In the summer, it gets massive. There was a huge amount of people queuing to get in. It took us half an hour to get in, and we came late, 2 hours after it opened. Yeah, it's popular, very popular.
They also, I think, am I right in saying that the trade can go in earlier?
Trade, you can pay £30 to go in at earlier time, which we do sometimes do. But if we're not, openly looking for stock, if we just want to have a browse, because sometimes we just go, to have a nice time. That happens too, and hence why we're here. We stumbled across this store.
It was a trader, but I think there was that lady there on the left, and her son had basically had a load of cycling stuff.
Yeah, the cycling stuff. Just so everyone knows, most of the Rafa had issues. So there was a pair of like the full body, like what they call it, the unitardy things that had holes, etc., so on and so forth, right? Anyway, they had these. Austin, explain what these are, because God knows.
They are Adidas, Yeezy, Wave Runners. They're the original colourway from 2018, I want to say. 2018? Yeah, 2018. They are 100% authentic. They were his personal pair. The suede is lovely. The leather's lovely. It's just a really nice pair. They've re-released these recently, and initially the prices dropped, but now the price have gone back up on the original pair, as in the original release of them, and they go from anything from late 200s, like 290 to 300, right through to 600 depending on the size. This is a size 8.5. Probably at the moment, StockX, I'll put the price up, but across the board they're still very, very good. He wanted this pricely sum. I think he wanted near enough £100. I made him an offer, and I got them for what, 65?
65,
which once again is a great offer, and a great price for me. They're for my personal collection. I've seen 1,000 pairs of these, but to find them in nice condition for a decent price, yes, bargain. Happy days.
He was a cycler. I don't know if you could tell. Well, he was previously a cycler, now into motorcycles. Don't know if you can tell. Anyway, he had a lot of cycling stuff. Like he had some Rafa gloves, Rafa headband, all had condition issues, holes, pulls, etc. And then he had some new cycling shoes, etc. But the pricey.
Yeah.
But some interesting things nevertheless, and good to see. He did have some clothes hanging in the back here. He has some vintage cycling t-shirts.
He also had a few hype beastie pieces like Palace represents, things like that. But the kind of vintage stuff is more my kind of thing. That was cool as well. It was Motorola challenge team, which was kind of cool. But there was a lot of staining with that. I don't usually mind with vintage pieces, but like a bit too much, if you know what I mean. The pieces we picked up were a 1992 shirt and a 1980 surf shirt, plus this YSL spell out. He wanted, I think, 15 for this one. And as you can see, that the black is almost orange, like brown, on that shirt. By the same token, they still go for like amazing money, because they're sold as kind of what I call depoppers kind of vibes. So the condition isn't so much of an issue. The three pieces, though, I paid for £10 each.
And to be honest, they roughly do about £50 each, right?
Yeah, I would expect 40 to 50 on the two vintage t-shirts, and around about the same for the other. Yeah, you're right.
100%. I would have had more of the Rafa if I could.
Yeah.
And I look back at it and think, all that Rafa, but it wasn't there, and that's okay, right?
I think the only things which didn't have issues, to be fair, was the bag, and I think he wanted kind of not top money necessarily. It was good money, to be fair, but
the new stuff.
Yeah, exactly that.
Austin stumbled across this. It was just a box, right, on the floor.
Or was it, Bethany?
They were all look at these. Right, so these are Love Moschino, all newer tags. These are corduroys,
like dead stock, basically.
Yeah, literally dead stock. They come out of department store, obviously.
The sale tags on them.
They had little heart rivets, which I found really exceptionally cute.
Yep.
And there's a pair of a silver pair.
The Moschino jeans.
And Moschino jeans was discontinued in 2000. You can visit my Instagram for the exact dates in which it was things. So this is clearly have are items that have been not sitting, but like in storage or whatever for a while.
They were all also from the same store. They all had the same store tags, if you will, and kind of prices and barcodes.
100%. So the guy wanted, he did help us. Well, how lovely of him. He wanted £5 a piece, which, you know, is extortionate money.
No, it was a bargain.
And we found 8 pieces that we wanted. There were a couple of pairs of them just non-branded. They had the same tags on, but they had no branding.
I think they were just like really nice high-end linen or cotton, if you want.
I don't know. I wonder if they were the own brand of the department store or something like that.
I think you're
know.
right. But once again, there was just lots of pieces. I think, like you said, we had 8 in the end. And yeah, £5 a piece. We ended up buying them all. I asked him if he'd take 30. He said 35. 35 for 8 pairs. I think there was four or 5 pairs of Moschino, and then the rest were
18th Amendment.
I'll put the logo up here.
Yeah, which are another high-end brand, and they seem to go really well on Vestiaire for various prices, but top whack being 175 to 200.
Look at those. How cool are they?
Oh, look at them. Oh, they're so cool. I didn't realise how cool they were.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they're fun. So yeah, that was a good buy. £5.
Is this sped up?
Yeah, a little bit. I quite like it. It's fun. £5 each. Sometimes that happens if you like mess with a button.
Okay, well maybe I messed with the button. Apologies, guys.
So £35 for 8 pairs of trousers. That's what I was getting to. I would expect at least £100 each new with tags, dead stock.
Yeah, 100%.
So even if that's that's roughly about £800 for all 8 pairs for 35 quid.
When you say it like that, I don't realise that's great money, isn't it?
It's fantastic money, and it just goes to show you at these fleas there is opportunity to find things. We find a lot with this flea. I love it. It's my personal faves. But I find a lot of people go for a day out, so which is totes cool. A lot of people go for a browse.
Oh, sorry, that
go
Fred
for
Perry
a
was a banger.
Yeah, that was a banger.
And a spell out, yeah.
I didn't really see it. There was also a Ralph Lauren chore jacket, which Austin.
Yeah, it was nice. Do you know what? It was just the wrong side of well, to be honest, I'll tell you the price in a minute. That's why it was wrong. But also this John Smedley, it was a good size. I think that's like XX minimum. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's a big one. Yeah. Long sleeve, and this, which kind of like buttoned to the top, would be more chory. It was really, really nice. It was overworked, so the inside was kind of double cottoned. A double stitched double cotton, and just in general that was nice, but they wanted £40 for it, and I think it was just too much. It was a great jacket, great size, and there was some staining, which isn't normally a problem with a chore jacket style, but to pay that much and have it stain, nah, not so much.
However, sometimes you'll find that people sell their personal clothes at these sorts of things, like as an opportunity to have a little clear out, right?
Exactly that.
Or it'll be like a trader who has some clothes. I don't know. There's not a huge amount of clothes sellers.
No, there's not. And this was really cool. This was a bunch of what I call amazing used beaten workwear. And I'm not talking about just like you people using workwear in the title because it's workwear-esque, which we tell people to do all the time. I'm talking about actual proper beaten workwear, which is such a vibe. Look at this. Look at it. Look at the stitching. Look at it's just so
French.
Nice.
The man on the stall was French.
It was really funny because we were kind of piling through it, and I mean it looks like French workwear, but like a lot of workwear doesn't necessarily come from France. As we were talking, we could hear his French accent. As we were kind of just chatting, I was saying to Bethany, I'm sure his name is really just Derek and he's from Barnsley and he's just putting it on because all his stuff was wee, and I'm not sure about you, Guy.
But it's really nice. If you can find this kind of stuff in the wild, it sells really well and really strong. Like there's a huge demand for authentic French vintage workwear. There was some boiler suits. You have to be careful. Sometimes they get bundled in and it's just some of it's not vintage, some of it is vintage. So you have to be,
And some of it can look new, but it's dead stock. So it kind of is it doesn't necessarily have to look faded and messed up to be old. We got a good dead stock jacket the other day from an awesome workwear brand, which was already sold actually. But by the same token, there is a lot of good stuff out there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. And as you know,
this is really
personally into workwear more so at the moment. I've actually ordered another pair of Carhartts. dungers.
Yeah, you have indeed.
Dungers.
These are nice. You actually wanted these for yourself, didn't you?
I really want a pair of like a boiler suit overall situ.
See, that was vintage dead stock.
I'd like it to be more battered, if I'm honest, than these.
Yeah, like the ones what you want is the ones I'm looking at now, that kind of thing. Well,
I like a hole, I like a rip, I like a repair.
Some paint.
I like some life, some story, some history.
Like, and that's what people will pay for. So I actually picked like a bundle up and I asked how much, and he said the worst thing he could have possibly said was, "Oh, they're all different prices." And I was like, "Okay, how much was this?" And I paid, I think it was these pants. It was these pants. If it wasn't, it was another pair of pants. It was like 25 quid. I was like, okay, that's not a bad price, but like for us as resellers, especially with like no brand to go on,
when you want to pick up a bundle as well, it
I would
gets
have
pricey quick.
I would have bought the whole pile rather than buy individuals because I just think it's better value.
Yes, exactly that. I mean, it's going to add up quickly when you're doing £25 a piece, isn't it?
That's the thing.
4 pieces in, you
got 100 quid. Yeah,
£100.
You know, and to be honest, like, wow, it's just a lot. Anyway, this was kind of an apron. All of it was really cool. Not trying to be negative. It was amazing. All really nice stuff. Good to see.
That's cool.
And to be honest with you, you see more and more of this stuff. Obviously, it's really popular anyway. It's kind of more contemporary right now. But you're seeing more and more at these flea markets, which is also really cool.
This is like the best thing ever, honestly. I would like to say I spotted this. I'm taking full credit for it.
Cool.
We should have gone back for it, and we didn't go back for it, and I had gone, and I was upset about it. So this is
well, I said to you, we should get it, and you were like, oh, should we? Or should we just come back later? I was like, oh yeah, all right, because I think the guy was busy. But yeah, that's kind of cool. And it's original, so cool. Original as well. It's not like a repro or anything. That's original.
There's money in vintage posters. There's money in vintage movie posters, band posters, anything that has a nostalgic value.
We actually have a few dotted around our house, which have been framed. And to be honest with you, like, it's not necessarily we go out looking for them, but if we see them, we do pick them up because I just think it's something cool and there's something quite interesting.
I just realised you cropped out my husband.
Which one?
The man on the motorcycle that was just sitting on the motorcycle.
I did, sorry.
Aww.
This was an older chap, and he looked like a biker from hell, I must say. This is a vintage Rolex sign. Really cool. Store sign. Like, honestly, like, official retailer, just, I have no words. This was really good condition. The actual scratch wasn't a scratch, it was just dirt. Stamped Rolex on the back. Also had the sticker there. Do you know what? These come up so rarely. So when you do see them, you kind of got to grab them. They make them in enamel. This one wasn't. They go for crazy money. But once again, right time, right price, right situation. But when you do find something like that, especially with a specialist and official retailer, just as a collector, it's amazing. But you have to have the right setup. You have to have the right place to put it, and you have to be willing to pay. I mean, I think it was near enough £300 you wanted, which wasn't terrible. But it's pretty much, that's what you'd find it for. Like, kind of if you were looking or searching for yourself. If it was kind of half that price, or maybe just over 100, I would have thought about it just because. And that's your bike that you wanted.
Yes, I wanted that. It matches my outfits.
Cool.
I'd just like to say as well, like, flea markets are full of traders and resellers just like us. So there is retail prices. Like, it's not designed to, for us to be the middleman, etc. so on. So a lot of people will work with you, but yeah, that's the thing.
That was a fake Rolex box for anyone for wondering.
Okay, thank you, Austin, for
that.
I
wanted to show this because we talk about Ariat a lot, and these are Ariat boots. These are brand new. Obviously, they were hugely expensive. Not expensive, sorry, but like out of our price range for reseller. I just wanted to show them so people are aware of Ariat. It's just a great brand.
The cowboy boots go for good money.
This was a cool looking store, and I was like, oh, Cappuccino was great, and then I saw £60.
Once again, obviously this is people.
It's a retail market,
and yeah, and you have to keep that in mind. I mean, if you could probably make a little bit of money, put a bit of Pash Mama, 45. So it's not too bad. Like, in terms of if you're buying for yourself, it's actually quite decent.
But like this
prices.
many pieces in, I'm over it.
And we have to. And you think when you're doing this, although obviously it is enjoyable and we enjoy doing it, I think you have to use your time effectively. There are so many stores, and you can't really waste time.
Like, I was going back to
these mugs are Silvac, just to let you know, they're barrel mugs, and if you saw them, they're pastel barrel mugs.
You might get a view of them in a minute as I go to the close.
I regret not getting some. They were £1 each. I do regret.
Obviously, like, I've kind of cropped this footage down, but like this was like 3-4 hours worth of footage, kind of constantly on, which is kind of insane.
I saw something, and Austin hadn't seen it, so I just stood in front of it until he noticed me.
You can see it now, but you don't realise what it is until you realise what it is. And then, like, wow, I checked the price. Look at that. Look at it. A vintage Ralph Lauren Safari for Men, which is a fragrance deck chair.
Here's a deck chair. We are keeping this for the personal collection. Don't ask. Austin is making a small collection of a collectible Ralph Lauren pieces. We have a Wimbledon sign.
We have a store sign.
A Wimbledon sign from Wimbledon, Ralph Lauren. I don't know where would it be on the store. On the Ralph store.
It's a store piece, yeah.
Yeah, and now we have a deck chair. Apparently,
the lady wanted £40 for this, and I said, "Would you take 25?" She said, "I'll take 30." I said, "How about 25?" And she said, "You know what? I'll take 25." What a lovely lady. I think she didn't want to put it back in the van, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and she tried to convince me it was great because it folds down. And that wasn't convincing me, if I'm honest.
That was kind of like a whole deck chair vibe. That's the whole point of deck chairs. We left it. I said I'd pick it back up later. So, yeah, that was a buy.
Do you want to explain Safari quickly to people that don't know what Safari is?
So I'll put a picture up here. I'm not actually sure if they still sell Safari. If they do, it's in limited kind of retailers. It was one of the kind of more recent but older iconic fragrances from Ralph before Ralph fragrances became like a thing everywhere. It was, for a long time, it was kind of, it just reminds me of, it's a Ralph fragrance I don't wear, but it's one of those ones it's very old, I want to say old fashioned, but like, it's very like, I don't know.
Smoky.
Refined kind of, older gent, should we put it that way?
Oh, spicy.
Look at what Bethany found on the table and shouted at me to go and look at.
I said, Austin, I can see oblique. I can see the oblique.
The oblique is the monogram print from Christian Dior, and look what this is. It is a vintage Christian Dior clutch. For
80s.
For the 1,000 people which would have walked past this, I wanted to cry. Basically, this oblique print, which you would have seen everywhere on from trainers, look at the stamp. Look at the stamp. It is beautiful. Also inside, just to clarify, that's lamb leather, and the outside would be obviously embroidered canvas. The CD, which I put my thumb over now, that would have been kind of gold plated, and it has worn away, but it's kind of like nice patina to it now, so that's not really so much of a problem. This kind of print, like I say, is so popular at the moment. I asked how much it was, and the lady said £40. I said, "Will you take 30?" She said 35, as you just saw. And I was like, yeah. I just think sometimes people don't know if they're real or not. I don't think they want to chance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
These sell very comfortably for £450.
I'll put a comp up here.
I have no doubt that we will be able to achieve that price, especially in the bleak print, with the leather lining. It's creme de la creme of vintage Dior.
A couple of people as well, fashion houses recently have reintroduced these kind of like, the snap kind of clutches, the snap top in metal, like the hardware's got this kind of like the clip like that. I call them
like rolled newspaper clutches.
Just me, going to get the chair we left. The Ralph, what do you call it, deck chair. It's a display piece from the fragrance range, which is really cool. I collect those bits and pieces, as some of you may know, some of you won't. Sorry if I'm talking weird, it's freezing. And I want to grab that and then crack on. I think this lady with this store is going early, so that's why I'm grabbing it now. Back to the footage.
Just to clarify, I did not force Austin to do that. He did that all by himself.
Look at me doing things. What I was going to say was, those clutches, trust me, in the next kind of year or so, those kind of clutches are going to become a big thing again. I just know it.
Well, people going out again, like just like little things like that. I know it sounds silly, but
no,
it's handheld. You take it on vacation, like all sorts of.
But for a long time, those clip clutches weren't really fancy. Like people weren't, they weren't classed as luxury. I think a lot of companies just weren't that bothered about making them. But trust me, it's a coming back.
Austin's very excited about his deck.
I was happy on my chair.
I don't know what we're going to do with it yet.
No idea yet, but I needed to own it, and when it was like, I just had to own it. Simple. There's no two ways around it.
This is a bit of a rando one actually, but Austin spotted these. These are Bratz dolls. I'm really after a original release Yasmin new in box, but I'm not paying stupid money for it. I'm really not. I like nostalgic things from like this, and I like to collect them for a small human.
All I can tell you about toys or kind of collectibles like this is things I find on from other YouTubers or Instagrammers. Yeah. So I blame everyone on YouTube or Instagram who does toys for me even looking at these.
Right. That's £100.
Yeah, oh, Jesus.
That's £60 on the internet. That's £350, and that's £250, I think it is.
Jeez Louise, that's insane.
Mad, yeah.
So just to clarify, the bigger box goes for the diamond one goes for about 150, but the box has to be pristine. And the top one, the last sold comp was 65, and that was to the United States of America with like £65 shipping. There is no evidence to suggest his prices on the eBay unless you're looking at listed.
I want to quantify that he was also Welsh, so an absolute legend.
Okay, so that makes him a legend, even though the prices were off, does it?
100%. It's okay. It's officially okay.
Okay, fine.
Anyone you need to let off, you can always let them off if they're Welsh.
Okay, we had a great day at the Flea, and we will be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll haul, and maybe we won't. Who knows?
Oh, one more thing. The Reseller Summit.
Sold out, guys.
Go and get your virtual tickets now. Bye.